What's up, everybody? It's Cameron Smith, along with my partner, Rebecca Haarlow. And you know the vibes when me and Rebecca are together. We make sure that we give flowers to the Knicks, their staff, their players, because they're playing some great basketball. We're making the case of why Tom Thibodeau should be the coach of the year in the NBA. So, Rebecca, kick us off. What's that first reason or that first flower that you want to give to Coach Thibodeau?
Let's just start off with the overall improvement of this team, just top to bottom. What this team has done and the amazing turnaround that we've seen has just been spectacular. Obviously, that starts with Julius Randle. And I love that Thibs saw that potential in him. I love that when he came over and talked to Julius Randle last summer and said, hey, this is what I expect you to do. This is what I think you can do. This is the position that I want you to put you in, go do the work. Julius has done it, and it's really just flowed down throughout the rest of the team.
Yeah, 100%, Rebecca. And my reason is a little bit similar to yours, not only with Julius, but with RJ Barrett, right? We talked about this before, about Thibs putting in the work with RJ in the offseason leading up to this stretch run that they have now, and him letting them know, like, look, they shaded you in all these all-rookie teams, and you're not, one of the top young players in the league. So this is all fuel to your fire. So him being able to develop RJ, but then also the other guys, Derrick Rose, this is not even vintage Derrick Rose. This is just Derrick Rose. This is just what he does in a good environment, playing with a former coach that he had much success with in Chicago when he won the MVP award. And then also guys like Taj Gibson, who's given the Knicks great minutes off the bench, with Mitchell Robinson out of the lineup due to injury. So those are guys that have been able to step up and really believe in what Thibs has brought to this team. And given what they have on this roster, and they have a very talented roster, I'm not sure how many other coaches in the NBA will be able to maximize the talent that the Knicks have on this roster like Coach Thibs has done.
Absolutely. And, you mentioned RJ Barrett at first, and I love that because there's just such an intensity about RJ Barrett and there's such an intensity about Thibs. I think they go so well together. Let's just look at the numbers, Cam. This is a top 5 defensive team, and this is a top 5 3-point shooting team. What I think is really special is the 3-point percentage, because we expect good defensive teams from Coach, because that is his signature. That's what he's done everywhere he's gone. But now he's also figured out how to put that together on the other end of the floor. And it's really cool that he's got one of the best offensive teams in the league. And these guys are always in the right place at the right time.
So since you're throwing out numbers for reason number 2 or flower number 2, I'll throw out some numbers as well, and I'll switch it to the defensive side because they're one of the best teams in the NBA, no doubt, when it comes to opponents' field goal percentage and also points allowed. So they're getting it done on that end. So what that means, Rebecca, is they're locking you down. They're locking you down on that end, limiting you to one shot and getting the ball moving on the offensive end in fast break or within the offense and knocking those threes down at a high clip.
My favorite thing about this team now, too, is just the toughness that they play with, especially defensively, like you're talking about. Teams come into the Garden now and they think, okay, let me put my hard hat on. This is going to be a tough night. I think absolutely one of the reasons why he should be Coach of the Year is the fact that he's just got 40 years of hard work paying off. And I love this so much about Thibs. You hear the stories about how when he's in his office and he's got the door closed, you are not allowed to bring him food. You got to hang food on the door so that he can keep working. That is how hard this guy is working. And I just love that it's all the hard work paying off. He started as an assistant at Harvard. He's made his way up. And, they're facing the Suns, Monty Williams, who also could be in that conversation for Coach of the Year. And Monty tells the story that when they were assistants for Team USA, that team, by the way, went undefeated. Meanwhile, these guys are still up until 2, 3 in the morning doing so much work. Monty talks about how basically he didn't sleep because Thibs was working that hard, despite the fact that that team was so talented. They could have rolled into half those games without any preparation, But that is not Thibs, and it is all paying off now.
And when you talk about those 40 years that Thibs has been in the business, my mind immediately went back to that throwback photo of Thibs, like he's turning sideways, and you can see the mullet with the curls flowing down and like that blue and green kind of jumpsuit that he had on. So that smile and that Thibs is always associated to, for me at least, of Thibs being young in the game and understanding that he has to pay his dues. So off of that point, if you're going to stay dedicated, that's going to help you change cultures. And that's what he's doing with the Knicks. I mean, this is a team last year that was 21-45. And coming into the season, nobody really truly had them being not only a top 8 team in the East, but within the top 5 in the East. And they're right there on the verge of making the playoffs in a handful of seasons. So this is an important move that Tom Thibodeau has been able to make.
Just one more point is how quickly he's gotten this done and how quickly he's changed the culture. Because if you take a look at the other people who could be in this conversation, like Quinn Snyder, what he's doing in Utah, or Monty Williams, what he's doing in Phoenix, those were teams that were good last year.
Yeah.
And so this team was not in the playoffs. They were not in the conversation. And all of a sudden, they're one of the better teams in the league. Thibs has done this inside of one season. And that is what I find so remarkable.
Let's get that energy out to Thibs because he needs that award. This is Knicks in 6 for Rebecca Haarlow. I'm Cam Smith. We appreciate you guys running with us.